Hello, hello. Can you hear me now, Chad? It was muted for the moment, right? We still have Snare missing, so we're not officially starting the podcast yet. Chad, we chose the BVD shirt. It was a tactical choice here, right? I chose it because it's the one team Bob can't flame because they don't have a Dota team.
Dude, got me, dude. Got me.
I thought this all through. You have to have the next level plays going.
Next level play.
I can't believe Snare's late. Bob, I could have expected you to be late, but Snare,
I'm,
you're a dependable guy.
I've made a habit of being on time and early for things. Dude. That's a good habit to have.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Chad, was he like that when APG was scrimming as well?
Probably not, dude. But we learn these habits through bad practice, should I say?
Bad practice. I get you. So all the times when Chad Simpson showed up late to a scrum, you learned you don't want to be like that. I get that.
I used to rage quit scrims. So that's what I used to do.
Yeah, dude. You didn't get your toxic Bob reputation from nothing.
Rage quit Bob, dude.
Let me see. All right, I don't know where our Sneffele is. Like, we have to believe he'll be here soon. Like, he didn't. I spoke to him not too long ago. He didn't say everything's messed up, so I just assume it's all good. Let me just make the viewing experience a slightly more pleasurable for the moment. Give me a second. If the stream breaks, it wasn't my intention. All right. Add. There we go.
Is this like the longest LAN ever in South Africa? I think about it.
What do you mean, like in terms of format and stuff?
Like just length.
I get that. It's sort of 4-day
long,
LAN?
eh? Yeah.
5-day LAN, Thursday to 4 days. It's pretty insane.
We've made it.
We've made it. For all those of you tuning in, sorry for messing up that. It'll go away in like a second. But yeah, we're waiting for Snare. He'll be here soon.
Do we have an emergency replacement?
Do we have emergency? I will bring Sargon on you if Snare's not there. Expert analysis to
get some stats, dude.
Some stats, dude.
Some fake stats. Is there such a thing as fake stats, dude?
Fake stats?
That's so loud, dude.
I don't know. Is there such a thing? I mean, Nahaz wouldn't agree with fake stats. I mean, you can get incorrect stats.
I'm interested to see how many. Actually, I want to look at the schedule as well. How many games per day there are.
I had the schedule open actually. Oh wait, I closed that tab. What? I will open it back.
What?
Here's the matchup, Sargon. I will put the link in the description as well. Cyprus, we would, but you're an England fan, so you can't know that much about football,
Come here, I have bad news for you, dude.
Dude, you don't bring it up.
My mom's British.
Oh, dude. Dude.
I have a British passport, dude. I'm actually half English.
It's coming
I'm sorry,
home,
dude. It's coming.
It's coming home.
The only reason I want England to lose is because of the media. Dude. Oh god, I hate them.
I kind of agree. Like, I have nothing against the England team, especially the way it is now. It's like pretty good. Like, it's no big players and stuff. It's just like, guys trying their best, but hey, I still cannot support that team. Like, come on. Like, the way the British media goes on this. It's like, I can't use Twitter, right? And I like using Twitter when England are playing.
Dude, that's funny, man.
Okay, so the tournament format. Where is this? Okay, here's the info. I read this the other day. I can't believe I didn't have this tab open. So the first day, we'll have the group stages starting at 5 a.m. p.m. rather. 5 a.m. No Dota players. 5 p.m. is the first round of groups. Second round is at 8 p.m. Then on Friday, we have a lot of Dota playing. We have one round of groups, 3 rounds of groups, and one of the double elimination brackets. I don't know if... Okay, I think... Okay, it's double elim. Okay, that's a nice format. I kind of like that.
So it's obviously you bring your own PC.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Alright. Snare is now officially 6 minutes late. This is like worse than K-Chick Day levels late. And Saturday, there's winner brackets and loser brackets. Couple of lower bracket games. One more winners. Okay, this is the winners bracket final on Saturday. Loser bracket final. And then Sunday is just the finals. Since ballistics is the topic for the moment, Bob, can I ask you something that's half related to ballistics?
Yes, hit me up, dude. I'm ready.
Okay, so there's another Dota competition going on right now that kind of conflicts with the ballistics tournament.
Yeah.
And we see a 3:30 pack-up time here for the finals on Sunday. And that tournament starts at 4 o'clock. We're talking about the medal states tournament here, by the way. The league game.
I think this is a mistake, dude. People make mistakes. It's pretty simple.
Alright, just checking.
Yeah.
I mean, Demonic was pretty honest on Twitter. He was like, he didn't see the mess up. But like, it's just one of those things.
Yeah, dude. It's like so much happening. And I feel like they had legitimate reasons, but so do the teams who want to play. I think reschedule would have been like ideal.
Probably. I think, I guess they just needed to coordinate which games are going to be on stream, because they're saying like streaming and all that kind of stuff is really important. He said only one team from each group gets eliminated. Good thing you mentioned that, song, because I was struggling to understand that. But that's pretty rough. So out of the teams that would get eliminated, like I swear, Snare, it's gonna be a. Brandon, don't even complain about that. I have to be casting those games. Okay, you have to play one of those games, and then you can go watch the finals. I have to be casting both those games.
Probably been 0-0 and go to penalties, dude. You probably would have missed anything.
Oh, dude, come on.
Especially if Croatia play.
Penalties every game. We're going to penalties again tonight, Bob. What do you think?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, Snare is actually wrecking us right now.
Snare's yeah, we just go.
Alright, it's 8 past 7 now. At 10 past, I'm starting the podcast. With or without Snare. Snare joins later point. It's fine.
Yeah, you can come in. Come in hot.
See, I'm looking at these games.
The one team is eliminated after the group stage. I need to get these groups up.
You want the links? I'll put it in.
No, I got them.
Alright, organized guy. Look at Saga and Fleming Band of Brothers. What did Band of Brothers do to you, Saga? Here's the groups. Oops.
Band of Brothers. Why Nibble lose that group?
Yeah,
Group
sure,
A
pretty sure Band of Brothers go through and Nibble doesn't, Sargon. Like Band of Brothers, my ex-teammate is in that team, but I think Band of Brothers like okay, I think they beat Nibble.
I think it's it can go either way, to be honest.
The Lead Pro Senpai's team is actually pretty decent. That's with your best friend Precious Petunia, Kuncha,
yeah.
Easy.
I think Harry the Hams and Precious are a pretty solid cause in terms of like that category of teams. And then I'm a big BE fan, dude. I'm a fan.
See, dude, I played on a team with that guy, dude. Look at him. He's a Masters player now. You know why? No, I'm kidding.
I was gonna say, I mean, he makes like a lot of mistakes and stuff, right? But like, he's not afraid to do stuff, and that's what's cool. Like, he's not afraid to like run in and die like a retard.
I get what you say. We have
sometimes
Daro
like
joining us. Is this the CS god himself, blessing us with his presence? Oh, I think Lead Pro Senpais versus XD Bob. What do you think?
That's like the possibility of like a so-called upset.
But
I think if you play coordinated against any of those teams, you won't lose.
Okay.
So if you like, don't be sloppy, basically, and you'll win.
Fair enough. Okay, so it's 10 minutes past 7. Our fellow co-host Snare is not around, so we're just gonna assume he has a legitimate reason not to be here, and we're gonna go ahead with this podcast. So hello and welcome back to Oh No Not a Podcast. I'm Kamal, joined by Bob Yules and the ghost of Snare. And the topic we're gonna talk about, if you haven't noticed already, is the Ballistics Masters going on this weekend, and it should be a good one. Our first big Dota LAN of the year, I believe, Bob. Actually, we had the Lead Pro LAN, but that was a bit of a small one, you know?
Bit of an introductory tester.
A warm-up LAN.
Yeah.
So, okay, we've been speaking about the stuff so far. So it's two groups in the LAN. We got Group 1 is Sinister 5, XD, WRG, Lead Pro Senpais, and Spartan Esports. Group 2 is Lead Pro, Goliath Gaming, Epoch, Band of Brothers, Nibble Horde. So basically all these teams, all the good teams, like 4 teams, as Sargon was saying, make it out the group stages. So it's not like that meaningful, the group stages. But what's your predictions? Group 1, who do you think finishes like 1 to 3? Give me the juice there.
1 to 3 in the group stage. Oh man, I think Sin 5, WRG. I'm gonna go for my Lead Pro Senpais. Pressure Petunia gonna bring me home.
Alright.
And XDA.
And XD. So wait, and XD at 4th, right? I assume.
Yeah.
Okay. So group 2, we got Lead Pro, Goliath Gaming, Epoch, Band of Brothers, and Nibblehorde. That group's actually not that exciting considering that 4 teams go through. If there's only 2 teams going through, I think we could have seen maybe some crackers, maybe some upsets.
Yeah. So I think that in order is like how they laid out: Lead Pro, Goliath, Epoch.
And
I wanna go for Band of Brothers, man, just because they've had that like Masters experience.
yeah, go my man BE. I think Nibblehorde has some of my mates in there as well. I'm not sure. Nibble has so many teams. One of the Nibble teams has my boy Wanda in there, but I think BE has a slight edge. I think Band of Brothers as well. Now, Now the reason we started doing this podcast is Bob Yules came to me and he's like, you know what, I have a plan here. Like, I need to get some things off my chest. So Bob, give us the sort of rundown on what do you want to be talking about today, you know?
So basically I want to go through like each team, which we kind of know about, each of the top teams. So we'll go through Lead Pro, WRG, Epoch, Goliath, Sin 5, and we'll touch a bit on XD as well. So I thought we just speak about these teams in general, give our opinions on them, and then I'm going to kind of approach it from, like, if I was trying to play against them, like, what would I try to do against this team? How would I beat them if I was this team? What would I try to do as a sort of a game plan to like play to my strengths if I was in that team? If that makes sense. So I think we can start with the top dogs, Lead Pro, and I feel like nobody's going to beat Lead Pro this LAN. I feel like if they drop a game, it'll be because they picked some like a meme draft, or they picked like techies or something stupid like that. So I feel like we don't need to talk much about how Lead Pro are going to approach games, because I think they can kind of pick whatever they want at this point and win. So if I was playing Lead Pro, I think I would first focus on is not to get like crushed in the laning phase. Like, don't lose the lanes first of all, and especially don't let ACG like start to dominate the game. Because if he starts to dominate the game and be retarded and make space, he's making space for Depi and RDK. Like, then you're just gonna lose anyway. So try not to lose a safe lane, and then at the same time you need to be pressuring RDK as much as possible. Okay. Now I'm sure they probably got good at sacking him, but yeah, they need to try to balance the farm between Depi and RDK and ACG. So people say the team's quite greedy, and I think if you were trying to play them, you would try to punish their greed. And you punish their greed by picking them off in lanes where they shouldn't be farming. So like any invis heroes with catch, Ricky, Bounty Hunter, Nyx Assassin, maybe Treant to a certain extent. I feel like these heroes would be good against him to kind of scout and make pickoffs. Yeah, that would be my sort of approach. Otherwise, like, good luck against them, I think.
I kind of agree
basically
on both your points there. I think like the way Chidawi used to run WRG as well, even in the big games like WSG and stuff, he used to put a lot of emphasis on those aggressive dual lanes before it was even a meta, right? So that ACG plus Chidawi now is the pause 4 lane. He's always going to be the lane that creating the most havoc in like the first, like from the 0-minute mark to like the 15-minute mark. It's like always been the Chidawi strategy, like picking Batrider, Tusty, and WRG. Now we haven't seen that much of Lead Pro games because there hasn't been that much Dota on, but like I feel like that's a really good place to start to beat Lead Pro. You shut down that aggressive dual lane. Oh, I think Snare is here. Oh no, it's not. Feels
wake
bad,
up,
man. Oh, he is. Where we see him? There we go.
I see him.
Young Snare. Okay, let me just. All right, he's here. 3, 2, 1.
User was
welcome, Snare.
Bro.
Amazing.
Didn't we say we're gonna start at 8?
No, you just never said it was starting at 8.
Man, that's entirely on me. For some reason, I had it like concretely in my mind. Okay, you know what happened, right? Let me tell you what happened. So I was supposed to be playing soccer today, right? Because we play soccer on Wednesdays. And I remembered at 4:30, I was like, wait, guys, we normally play soccer from 6:30 until 7:30. And there's no way I'll be back on time for the podcast. They were like, what time the podcast on? I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's 8. So I'm not gonna play soccer because I have to be home by 8, and I can't be home by 8. In the meantime, yeah, my bad. My bad, guys. Hello, everyone. I'm sorry. It's entirely on me.
Okay, we've made it, dude. We've
Alright.
made it.
Before we get back to Leap Pro, I got an update from Mr. Cypress here. Shout out for being a sport and messaging me. B is no more on the roster, man. It feels bad, man, for Bob. It's now Fakriup. I actually said the name right this time. Terabyte, Skidoo. Haven't heard of him before. Juicebox and Shadow Trick. So some changes there. But BOB is playing. Sorry, B is playing at the LAN. I spoke to him earlier on Steam, so I'm not sure.
He's a Leap Pro team.
He's in the Elite Pro Senpai's team.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, so that team is actually really solid.
Yeah,
Back to
I think
Leap
it's...
Pro. I'm sorry
Yeah, so we just touched on Leap Pro. I feel like that's pretty much it.
No,
Like, I don't
I
think
still have
anyone's
another
really
point
going
to
to beat
add.
them.
I agree with you. I think they're coming in the favorites like 80 to 20, like maybe Sen5, maybe WRG, maybe GG if they're lucky, but like Lead Pro like 90% sure should be the favorites there.
Yeah.
But one thing I want to add is like the plan of pressuring RDK no, sorry, that's not what you said. You said they can get punished them for farming greedy lanes, right? Because I think one of the weaknesses I noticed there is that a lot of the both Deppy and RDK like to farm in safe places, or Deppy, especially when he gets shut down, he farms in very safe places. RDK is usually forced to farm in the way where you should be pushing out lanes, and he often gets caught there. Like the game I casted of them in the TI qualifiers, like RDK was like the one saving grace and hope for Lead Pro in that game, but then he was still forced to be pushing out lanes to like super far up, and he was just getting picked off all the time, and then in the end, like when your carry is dying like that, and he's your only hope in the game, you can't win, right?
Yeah, value your life as a carry player.
For sure.
Good advice.
Chad Simpson, I can confirm 225 is playing for Epoch at the tournament. Stunt had to sub out for some personal issues. I'm not sure what it is. Don't really want to touch about it, even if I did know. But yeah, he'll be back in Epoch soon though.
Oh, so Stunt is like actually legit. Okay, cool. Wait, did you happen to watch the game that Epoch played on Sunday?
No. I saw like the bit of the laning phase, but it was over in the first like 10 minutes.
We'll get to Epoch. Don't worry, Snare.
Yeah,
Their time's gonna come.
Love it.
We let Bob choose the teams, okay?
So we go.
Yeah.
So we done Lead Pro, right? And then we go on to WRG.
Oh, that's
now. I think WRG. If you look at their players, right? Chelsea, Nick Doto, TKC, Odu, and Strike. Now I feel like five individual like really good players, okay? But I feel like this is kind of what their team is. They're just like five individuals. And the last time I saw them play was up against like Goliath. I think it was in Ballistics. And there was like a point in that game where they were dominating, right? That was the game where Darren just went like guard mode on Batrider.
Yeah.
Like he was utter guard mode, and it was like insane to watch. But there was an instance in the game which kind of like just summed up WRG perfectly for me. It was when Odu TP'd bottom lane to farm like a big creep wave, and as soon as he TP'd, like Darren engaged on like a guy in the mid lane, and TKC and him just died because like it was just them two, and Odu had TP'd away. And I'm not saying it's anyone's fault there, but you just see like there's a misconnection. There's no connection there. There's no like, hey, I'm TPing to the bottom lane, maybe back off mid lane. It's like he TP's there and like for some reason he engages. Now it's like, I'm not saying it's anyone's fault, but like that's just like there's no like synergy there. There's no understanding of or communication or something. Like there's just something wrong there, I think. And yeah, they just seem to lack a game plan generally, and they seem to like overvalue certain heroes. Like Nature's Prophet, I think, is one of them. Although I think if you ban Nature's Prophet against them, it's a good idea because Odu plays that hero really well, and they play around the hero really well.
Yeah, I mean, even in the old WRG when I was still castaway in them, they're like, just because of how much Odu played on that hero, it has just become like first ban material because of how good he was on that hero.
Yeah, but they like apply so much pressure on the map with that hero.
I think for me, like I kind of agree with your statement on them. Like I think like they don't all seem on the same page in how they're making moves around the map together at times. They're kind of a newly formed team, so it's a bit expected. But
yeah, that is. Yeah, exactly.
I think like I was actually having a chat with Tamir and them because they often like that game they lost against Goliath, right? The first game they were 10k net worth ahead, but it felt like a really hard game to win. And then the third game they were 10k net worth ahead, and again like Goliath managed to beat them, and they felt like from those games they learned that they played the early game really well, but they were actually having to me, what he says is him and his team, they thought they don't understand the meta properly, because they get this lead, and then they keep on playing that like sort of TNC divide Dota, just fighting all the time. But the way the patch actually runs is like BSJ also spoke about this, is that's where it actually clicked for Tamir, is that where it is now, when you're ahead and you die, like the comeback mechanic gold is like kind of was a couple of patches ago, and it's just such a big swing, and they just keep on. They can't be playing that TNC Dota, because one mistake and you get messed up. So when they get that lead, they need to play the more deep lead pro style, when you just start choking out the map and just building that advantage from 10k to 15k. Maybe get all your BKBs up on all 3 cores, and then maybe go for a fight like that. That was what they said, how they're addressing the issue. What do you think about that statement, Bob? Or Snare as well?
I actually have a question for Bob, but I'll ask him just now after he answers this one.
I think, yeah, pretty much they need to be more disciplined. And I would say when they approach that, like, I mean, when you're ahead in the game, right? And when you approach a certain point where you need to go high ground, or you need to start finishing off the game, it's important to play around the rush and play in, like, I'm just going to use, like, say, like 5-minute increments and be like, for this 5 minutes, this is what we're going to do. We're going to run around like this together around the map. We're going to push in 2 lanes at once, and we're not going to let them farm. And we're going to keep them in their base. And we're not going to do anything drastic. If they step out of position, then we engage. Like, and you do that for like 5 minutes, and then you assess. And then you do that for another 5 minutes, and maybe then you can get second Aegis and cheese. And then by then you should have a BKB or something extra to go high ground and win. It's basically win you the fight. But that's something that I think WG don't really understand either. I think the item builds are generally quite bad. I just see like weird item choices. And it's just greedy, very greedy on an individual scale. Like going Bruiser Travel and Batrider before getting forced off. Just small things like that. Getting Lincolns instead of BKB.
I actually completely agree with you on that front. Like, although like Darren at the end of the game, even though they lost, I think was MVP for the amount of like insane lassos. He had 2-man lassos. Like, he played amazing, but I think in the early game, like, he had like, it was 6-0 and stuff, and I feel like he kind of lost them a portion of that game with just playing like super greedy. And like the one time, like you remember that Odu and I think TKC maybe made a move together, or Odu in one of the supports, and then like Darren was farming the lane on one of the side lanes. Like, I think if he was there making that move with them instead of like playing such a greedy core style, I think it would have been better. Like, obviously somebody needs to be pushing on the lane, but does it really need to be a Batrider? And then Odu's itemization on carry, I'm not the biggest fan of. Like, full stop.
I was going to say that, like, with WRG, something that you said just now, Bob, about how they need further discipline in order to be able to close out games, especially like when, like Camilo was mentioning, when they're super ahead and they should be able to close things out without sliding into comeback dangerous territory. Do you think that could help a lot if they change their approach to drafting for objective takers, right? Because I think the only heroes I've seen them pick that take objectives generally, they pick TKC will play DP. That's like their main objective playing hero.
Yeah.
And then every now and then we'll have a Jakiro. And then I think we've seen a couple of Wind Rangers, maybe 3 of them. I'm not 100% sure. But for the most part, it feels like they aren't in a situation where they enjoy predominantly picking objective takers unless it's the Death Prophet. Do you think that whilst they're still building up their discipline as a team, that they should change their drafting ethos just for a while so they can actually win the games when they're ahead, and then later on come back and pick heroes that require more coordination once they have a better team understanding together?
Yeah, I mean, they can mess around with it, right? I'm not sure too much on like OD's player pool. I mean, hero pool. I think he's the guy who needs to be on the objective taker along with TKC. That's what they're looking for. But I think he'll get there, right? Like we saw last year, Odu grinded a lot. He reminds me of N'Golo Kante a lot. You know, the guy who does all the grinding work and doesn't get any credit for it.
Bruh.
I completely agree with you. Okay, I know we may be going a bit long on WRG now, but like last year he started off playing mid for energy, then he moved to carry, and like he wasn't really good at either of those roles to start off. Like I think it was pretty bad carry, but like he kept on grinding, and at some point, like by the time Masters Cup came, he was actually a really solid carry. I think in that tournament, I think he was one of the best players for energy. Was 40 Frank's heroes all getting banned out. So again, like this year as well, like since he's moved to carry for this new WRG team, he plays like 10, 15 games a day. The man puts in the work. Yeah. So credit to him.
Oh boy, grinds. And he picked Wraith King in an official game.
Oh god, let's not talk about that. That's Agadem 0. Are we gonna move to the next team, sir?
Yeah, we can go into Sin 5. We start with the big boys and move our way down. So we've mentioned Sin 5 quite a bit in previous podcasts. And I thought about this today, and I was like, you guys remember the Sin 5 from the EG last year? And they had like Fearbender. I can't actually remember. I think Aghanim was still on the team, but they had a very unique playstyle, which was kind of like quite new to the scene, right? And it was quite like disciplined and like. But I feel like they're still playing that same style. Like when you watch Sin 5, or when you play against them, you just know what's gonna, you know where they're gonna be before like. In a minute's time, you know they're gonna be in your jungle, or like it's too predictable in my opinion. It's easy to play against them, and if you don't lose the lanes against them, they're not going to snowball, and then they're just going to take bad team fights, because I just feel like that's all they're doing. Is just they can win the laning phase, and then I feel like they just put all the pressure on Dota and Da to engage every single fight, and Aghanim and Adeslam just sit back and be like, go Dennis, this is your time to shine. And if he misses like an axe call, like apparently he's been playing so much on Facebook, in the Facebook group, but all the pressure's on him, like why not? Like there was one game where they were playing against Lead Pro, and like Aghanim got like a blink dagger on Ursa in the first like 13 minutes, and I never saw him blink in and engage once until it was like super duper safe. He like waited for his teammate to go in and like.
Wasn't that the game when didn't Lead Pro pick like Enchantress or something, and they
picked the most retarded heroes ever? Yeah.
It was like there was like a Warlock and Enchantress. What else was in that game?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a weird game.
I remember that game.
Their team fight also just seems really bad. They just don't seem to team fight well.
You think that has something to do with after the role swap? Because it still feels like, unless he's playing Axe, it still feels like Dennis is still basically playing support. So it feels like they have now 3 supports where one of them just has to be the initiator, as well as, creating space. And he might not be the one buying wards and shit, but it doesn't necessarily feel like, unless he's playing Axe. Axe he's pretty great on, but unless he's playing Axe, doesn't feel like he has the same impact around the map. And in particular, when they pick him Night Stalker, because they still like doing that, even though when they play it, it doesn't feel like they've necessarily acclimatized to playing this hero in the offlane. And like, they split farm a lot. Because there was one game where he was playing Night Stalker, and then I think Skynet was playing, was it Sand King? It was some hero with a stun. And then they tried to just prioritize him getting the Blink Dagger first, so they could at least have some kind of initiation. It didn't really work out for them. They got punished in a lot of lanes, and then they ended up losing the game, and they still, by the time they lost the game, I think they were still like a few minutes away from actually having the Blink as well as a +1 item.
I think I watched the game.
Yeah, so it was like, oh, okay, I don't know. When he's on X, it's great on Dota.
Yeah, it just seems like I'm not blaming Dennis, but like he does badly because his 2 other cores like don't want to get their hands dirty. Like I want to play pretty Dota, Like I want to see Adam or Aghanim or both of them, like just do something different almost. Like throw yourself in the pot, like
doing something different. That's like my point I want to make about Sin 5. Like I feel like the team that Sin 5 team that beat BVD in the WHC qualifier, they didn't beat them, but they took a game off them. Like they were picking the Chen, they were picking the Sand Kings. That sort of playstyle they had, it hasn't really changed. Like they still play exactly the same Dota, which is fine. Like if you have a style, you kind of got to sticking to. It's not a bad thing, but like I don't feel like the team has progressed or got any better since that time they took a game off BVD. I feel like they're still at the same level of team, which is not a good thing, because like you have like 5 players who are putting in a lot of work into Dota, and it's a team that always prides itself on being really serious. Like you can't be staying in the same place, right? Yes, they're still a good team, but when they were a good team at the start of the year, at this time when they were playing like that, it was like, wow, great, they've progressed so much, they're playing so well. But now it's like, why are you still playing like that? Can you know? I don't know.
I agree.
It potentially could be a thing of, when you have a particular idea of how to play the game, that also works with your playstyles. Actually, fine. Let's do this, guys. Do we? Obviously, it's going to be looking a little bit towards the future. Do you guys think that they need, beyond role swaps, do players need to leave? Has the team been together too long?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think it's a case of like, okay, Bob Fuels made that infamous tweet like, I think Sin 5 need to get better to get when Craxian gets kicked, but like, I thought it was funny then, but like, I actually don't agree with like that, because I don't think he's actually like
no, he's not.
He's skilled bad. He's not. He's like gotten much better. It just feels like as a team, they, like Bob Fuels says, they play, something just doesn't feel right about the team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I was actually gonna say the same thing. Maybe it's time for a new coach because they've been playing Immortals Faith way of Dota for a long time now.
Fresh perspective could be good.
Fresh perspective, yeah.
You need someone who's gonna tell you to first pick Pudge, bro.
I mean, the hero's that's actually legitimate.
The hero's
broken
amazing,
right
dude.
now.
I'm sure the
legit,
hero's
dude.
broken, by the way.
Like, yo, first pick Pudge is a legit strat, guys.
At
Do
30
this
minutes,
every
that hero
game.
has 40k HP all the time. If Ulti Frank was here, he'd be telling you how good that hero is. That hero's so good for this, right?
Pudge was first pick.
Filthy Frank. Pudge, dude. Get me out of here.
Alright. Oh no.
I think that is. I think we can tick away Sin 5.
Did I just break the live stream, or is it still working? Okay,
No, it's still working.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank God. Oh, I'm touching.
We can move on to Goliath now. Now, I think I'm not too sure about Goliath either, but I feel like this is the team you want to be watching this weekend because I feel like all the epic games are going to come from Goliath. I just think they're a team which could almost lose to Lead Pro second team, but like almost beat Lead Pro if they wanted to.
I just realized
Check
Goliath
statement.
Gaming is Cloud9. SA Cloud9.
Muzzy's EE, dude.
Muzzy's
Dude, I agree with that statement so much. Muzzy's going ham, dude. That guy will carry against anybody, but like sometimes, like it's.
So I mean, yeah.
Okay, you go first, Bob. You go first.
So I subbed for them a while ago, right? And I suggested that they pick up Mental. Now, when I did play for them, I realized they're a bit frantic. It's like, I see a guy on the map, let's run and kill him. And that's kind of what it's like when you watch them at the same time. There's no real structure and there's no real game plan. And I think they just haven't been exposed to that yet. I think if they're exposed to some form of game plan and like a strategy, then and you just iron out that like those small things where you see a guy on the map and you all start running at him or something. You need to remember, okay, this is not the game plan. Like we don't want to go to that area of the map. We need to focus on this area. And then you don't start, because that's how you start getting picked off, and that's how you start to lose momentum. So I think if they just have some form of game plan, they'll be much better. And I mean, they got good players, right? And I think it's
that
important.
team has a lot of potential.
Yeah. Just to be patient, especially like Jappa's a very aggressive player naturally, and I think you can take advantage of this, but he needs to curb that aggression into good movements.
Yeah, I think. Like I agree with you. Like the kind of like Jappa in particular, I think the patch suits him really well because he likes to he's an offlane player that likes a lot of farm, and in this dual lane, and he likes to bully people in lane. So this dual lane meta suits him really well. But like Goliath Gaming as a whole, they have like moments of brilliance and then moments of like, what the fuck are you doing right now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if they can iron out the latter part of what I just said, I think they are a scary team. Like I think they're already a scary team.
That being said, though, I kind of feel like they're also a team that I'm not certain, like, you know, there's certain teams where you're not certain if they'll do really well or if they stop playing frantic, crazy, weird Dota, right? Because, like you're saying, so a lot of these players, so like, let's say Muzzy and Jappa, right? These are not two guys that I will imagine being at their maximum comfort zone if they're playing calm, collected Dota. You know, kind of feels like things need to be going wild for them to succeed. Obviously, they need to iron out issues in terms of consistency, right? Every game can't be a 90-minute epic. But the fact that they know intrinsically that the crazier a game gets, it benefits them more so than any other team, I think, in the SA scene. Probably encourages them to, like, you're less concerned about stability, right? Or you're just more concerned about not losing the game early. Wait, actually, Sargon, you're here in the chat. I wonder, does Goliath ever lose games that go? How often do they lose games that go past like 45? I feel like it's been a while since I've seen Goliath lose a really long game. I feel like once you've gotten them into that late game stage, it's like, all right, cool. So something's gonna go fucked up, and they're gonna eke out a win that you're not gonna expect. But that shit's still gonna happen, and there's no way to avoid that.
But like that's how they draft. They draft very greedy as well. They pick like Muzzy and Carter, these like big cores, you know. And like Jappa is a naturally greedy offlane player as well.
It's a hard thing for Jappa. Like if they're picking those greedy cores, like Jappa will usually do well in his lane, like most offlaners do these days. But then he runs into a lane where he's got a useless hero at that point in the game, and therefore, like the rotation isn't good, and then you waste all this time, and you're the strongest hero in the game, but you can't do anything at this way you want to be doing stuff, and you have no one to do it with. So I think they need to balance those picks between Koto and Muzzy. One needs to be more active and with Jumper. Like you can't just be solely relying on one guy to make all the space for you.
In this
Who
meta of
do you
Dota 2,
have?
you can't get away with playing two greedy cores in your
Yeah.
1 and 2. 100% of the time, I think you should lose those games. But I'm going to respond to Chad and Sargon. Yeah, I think, like Chad's point about they don't have a proper captain, and Sargon's like the team synergy problem. I kind of agree with both of you guys there. But I think like what I've personally suggested them, because I have a kind of good relationship with Gabby and Sikalish and like the organization of GG, and I should personally suggest to them they need a coach, because the talent is there, but like they need to like understand what to do together. I think captaincy is great in the team, but like we've spoken about captaincy a lot in the past, and I don't think it's something SA is ready for yet. Like we don't have a player ready to be a captain just yet, right? I mean,
And
you
it's
got
hard being a
Chidaway.
captain.
It's very hard.
Forget
It's
about it, yeah.
insanely hard. But like a coach helps all the players just be a little bit more mindful of things like, you know, when you're pushing a tier 1, your support not farming a jungle. This is a real life example I'm giving. When you're pushing tier 2 and there's no vision, don't be too greedy and take that next creep wave, Maggie. Maybe back out and get with your team. Like just those small things, but like a coach can help you. It's all about like how you're thinking about Dota. Like Filthy Frank emphasizes this all the time. It's like, how are you thinking about the game? And I feel like if they're thinking about the game better together, and then they'll be in a much better position.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
And they have mental, so
Yeah, mental's really good.
I'm a mental fan for sure.
I'm a huge mental fan.
I think he could be the captain savior, but I'm not sure if he has a personality.
Alright, guys.
okay.
Yeah, no?
Okay, so I know we talk about captaincy a lot on the podcast, but like a quote from Matumba Man was like, he thinks that in Dota you have 5 guys coming from 5 different places with all 5 different ideas, and he says what a good team needs is you need to follow, you got to believe in one guy, and you all have to follow his ideas. And if that guy doesn't work, you go to the next guy. But it's important to all be on the same page when playing Dota and having the same I don't know, like just a togetherness in a team. I like what he had to say that in that.
Yeah,
interview.
that makes sense. I think it goes along with the idea of Dota being, in some sense, a negotiated dictatorship. Gotta allow somebody to take charge and say, "All right, bro, we'll tune you shit after the game. Right now, you're in charge. You control everything. Make this happen."
Yeah, that was a small approach we had from the brief time we had our coach. If someone, obviously we had like allocated times where people would take control of the game, and whatever that person said was final. And if it was a wrong call, you discuss afterwards.
For sure.
Like if you want to divide or die at the tier 2 together, you all divide and die at the tier 2 together. But as long as you are doing it together, that's what really matters. But yeah, so we can tick off Goliath there.
Fair enough.
Oh, before we move on from Goliath, let me ask you guys a question. Which team has greater overall potential, player for player, between WRG and GG?
WRG 100%.
At WG, yeah, for sure.
Just
Oh,
make
he said, don't even play games
Yeah,
with us,
no,
yeah,
no.
right?
Sure. Just making sure.
WG has got Nick Dota, dude. He's like, he would
guy's
trump
a
anyone
fraud.
in Goliath, I think.
For sure.
Maybe not, yeah. Okay, so next I got my boys Epoch.
Yeah.
Oh, this is gonna be a good.
Now,
Right.
I think Epoch. Yeah, so if I was playing against Epoch, and I feel like at the moment they play pretty well. They sack Snoops and they win Fearbender's lane and they win what used to be stunts. It's now 2-5's lane,
Just for
and-
this tournament.
and they play around their 2 cores, and Snoops can do whatever he wants to do around the map. And hopefully he'll come online in the late game, pretty much. But if I was approaching Epoch, or if I had to speak to them, I'd be like, well, what happens if Fearbender and 2-5 lose their lanes? Like, Snoops is not a good enough player to carry the game. I feel like he doesn't understand his role. Like, 100% Nicholas Bentner of the SA scene. Just doesn't understand what he's doing. And, like, what would they do if Snoops was, like, the strongest hero on the map? And Fearbender and 2-5 have lost their lane? Like, they're gonna crumble. Because Snoops just, like, he makes too many errors. And if you watch any of the Epoch games, he's continuously dying in, like...
He does the same.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I get a bit passionate about this because, like, I like Dota a lot, and I care about it, and I know all these, like, Epoch is a team with potential. All these, like, top teams of Masters are trying their very fucking best to to try do something, to try win games. And Epoch, I had a conversation with Adestam, and he's like, if Epoch had a carry, they would be competing for top 3 in the country. And like, it makes me sad. Like, just give me a second here. Snoop does the same thing every fucking game in, game out. He plays. Doesn't matter what he's playing. He picks Juggernaut because he thinks Juggernaut is his best hero. But he does the same thing every game on Juggernaut. He sits in the safe lane and he farms for 15 minutes on Juggernaut, Gyrocopter. Actually, any carry in the middle right now, you cannot do that. Like, you can't sit in that safe lane for like after 10 minutes. Like, you can't be in that lane. Like, if you're sitting in the top lane for 15 minutes, right? I was casting a game once, and literally his team had, like, we were playing Jug, Magnus, they were controlling off lane and stuff, but like Snoop just sat and he farmed the safe lane all the time. And if you're just sitting in a safe lane, like, this dead lane concept, like, it's been talked about a long time. Bob's talked about it, BSJ's talked about it. I sent him a link because Blitz does a video on this every 3 months when he gets tilted in his pubs about that safe lane area after a certain amount of time. And when you're playing in that safe lane area, just farming the whole time, at some point you're going to get ganked. If you're sitting there for 15 minutes, in 15 minutes, he got ganked 3 times in that safe lane. And when you're dying as a Juggernaut at that point, like, your team can't make moves for like so long. So you dying there all the time, like, it just puts your team in such a bad position because you're doing nothing as a core. You're the most farmed hero on the map. But when you die, you're giving away such a big bounty to your opponents, and then your team can't make any moves. Like, why isn't he mirroring that move with his team, like, to the safe lane on the other side of the map? Like, that'd be a much better way to play. Like, individual mistakes and other stuff later on in the game, okay, shit happens. But that little mistake still hasn't changed now. And I have to ask you guys, is that just his fault now because he doesn't know that? But, like, they have a coach, right? Hari's their coach. He has 4 other teammates. At what point do they say, like, can you come and make a move here on this side of the map? You have Omni Slash. We can kill this guy. You know what I mean? That was a long rant.
I don't know what happens in that team.
That was beautiful rant, actually. Well done, bro.
Yeah.
Very good.
I think Nick A. Kick is, like, he's got a really good temperament. I think he's actually not a bad captain.
He's
he
really
makes
good at Dota,
calls
like,
in that
as well.
team.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, like, what you do when your carries are dead weight, it's like almost impossible to play the game. And I've seen him play, like, the Epoch get into late game, as we see quite often in SA games, and his PL build is like some awkward, not awkward, Bloodthorn can nullify a Bloodthorn someone, and like anyone's gonna die at that point of the game. But like, I've constantly seen him be top of net worth, because farming's not hard, right? Hitting creeps isn't difficult, and he'll come into a fight and he'll just die. He'll just like stand still and die. It just happens like all the time, and yeah, I just don't see. I feel like Epoch are gonna struggle a lot this LAN. I think Snoop's weaknesses are gonna be shown, and I think they're gonna be in for a big awakening. I think, unless Bender and Nick can do it, and 225's a god on LAN, so we never know.
Yeah, 225 on land, bro.
Dude.
But also, this is a meta we
give me
can go
2 more
aggravate.
minutes to rant just now. Just 2 more.
Oh, go for 3, bro.
Last year when IG won the TAC LAN with Burning there, every single game they picked Burning Juggernaut, and every single game Burning did the same thing. He'd farm in lane till he gets level 7, and he has his boots, his phase boots, his Aquila, his wand. He'd go make a smoke play with these 5 support. Baboka would go to the lane, get his level 6. They'd go get a kill on the other side of the map, the enemy carry farming jungle or whatever, and then they pressure the tower. And then your support is getting 6 top. You got a kill on the enemy carry, or even just 1 support. You have a ward behind the enemy safe lane tower. You're pressuring a tower. You're farming on the other side of the map, and you're just making good moves. Have we seen that from Snook's best hero Juggernaut yet? Once. Can you guys tell me a time where we've seen that?
Negative.
Okay,
Yo,
no, I'm
if
done.
Snoops
I'm
get
done.
kills-
I'm over it.
No, you're not. No, you're not. It doesn't feel like you're done, bro. When Snoops gets kills with heroes, it's normally like he'll kill like the opposing offlaner and maybe 1 support, but that's about it. I actually wonder if you made a tally of kills at 10 minutes for each, or kills by level 8 for each carry per team. Snoops would probably be on the lower end, even of like the teams that we'll still have to get to on the other side. So I don't know. It feels like also what's really frustrating sometimes about talking about Epoch is that, you know, some teams it's hard to know what to talk about, right? Because with Epoch, it's like, okay, we all have a feeling about what the problem is, but it also doesn't. It feels like the rest of the team is being held back rather than the team needs necessary restructuring. It feels like everything has major potential and can work out except this one particular variable. And it's like it's kind of frustrating to think about, right? Because how else? Let's say we imagine that Epoch doesn't kick Snoops, right? And Snoop stays there forever for whatever reason. What could you say to them to have them be better? How could you have them improve without? Because we're all like, yo, the problem is over there. It's not like you can ask Fear Bender or Nick to carry harder, right? You can't really say, yo, guys, all of you need to be moving more consistently together across the map. Can't be talk. Well, 225 is going to be on lane instead of stunt. 225 in the off lane. It's not like we're going to be able to say, hey, 225 off lane better. You know, be able to secure your lane in a better position to make sure that Snoop doesn't suffer on the other side of the map. So, what would you say, Bob Yules? Let's say you're the coach right now, and they say you cannot criticize Snoops at all.
You can't. Wait. Before Bob starts, you can't tell me that coach can do anything to resolve any problems if he hasn't told his carry to stop farming in the lane for 15 minutes after Epoch has been a team for. Okay, I'm done. Bob, your turn.
I don't know what to say, man.
That's what I'm saying, right? It's hard to know what to say because it's like, oh, the team.
Maybe they do tell him. Maybe he just doesn't listen. I don't know. We don't know what happens within the inner workings of their team. But unless his booster rocks up and land, I think they're going to be in trouble.
Yo, that was feels bad, man.
Okay, I think we can move on from Epoch after that.
Alright.
Just straight out to you. We don't hate you, but stop bombing the safe lane, man.
So we go into XD next. The team I like to call now 4 Giroux plus 1 Mbappe.
No, hold on, bro. Not Giroux. Did you? Come on.
4 Giroux, man. He's the most useless player I've ever seen.
Did you see that? Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yo, I'm actually dying. I can't.
Cloud's obviously the Mbappe, right?
Oh,
like,
of course.
Cloud's Mbappe, yeah.
Yeah, Cloud's Mbappe.
God.
And I just think if you playing against XD and you pressure Cloud,
Yeah,
what's gonna you're gonna win, I think. And I feel like that could be that's a problem. I've got here, I made some notes. Levi needs to value his life a bit more. I feel like he dies in unnecessary positions almost all the time. And yeah, I haven't really seen their mid player play to his so-called potential as of yet. But you never know, LANs do things to people.
Oh man. I seem to recall a young trash APG coming third at a LAN that they had no business coming third at.
We had ACG in the mid lane, dude. It was, and Phalanx, dude. Phalanx was like
Phalanx, yeah.
Dude, that guy. We should dedicate a podcast just to Phalanx. I don't have much on XD. I just feel like if you pressure Cloud, you're gonna win the game. And
okay.
But XD, if I was at XD, I would try and enable Cloud as much as possible.
Right.
You know, I like your analogy of him being the Mbappe because I feel like Cloud has, you know, every night, like there's not, I think it was Chidawi that mentioned it on the last episode, how there's not a lot of players that are actually good at the game. Most of us just grind hours. And even though those who grind hours, most of us still aren't that good at all. Cloud feels like he's one of the few players that have potential to be really special. Like, dude, actually, you know, there's people who are good at the game, but there's people who are good at the game and love it and genuinely want to be doing this thing in whatever capacity for the rest of the time. And Cloud feels like one of those dudes. Really loves this game. Oh, in 19, same age as Mbappe. Even better for the analogy. But that being said, the question has to be asked. How far can you go with this particular grouping of players? And what potential do they have on XD?
You know who Cloud really reminds me of is TKC of last year. You know, it's kind of a similar situation where TKC was. I'm not just saying my opinion. I'm not just biased here, but it's like it was really good. He just came out of nowhere, showed everybody how good he is, and then it was like a state where people wanted him to play with him. Like got calls from Energy, got calls from here, got calls from there. And it was like that, no, I'm going to be, like, this is Cloud's mentality at the same time. It's like, I'm going to be loyal to XD. You know, Reddit's has been good to me. My teammates, they have potential. I want to do this thing with XD. And I think, like, to me, his opinion of it is like his natural progression. He has to go through this now. Like, make his moves, try out XD. But at some point he will realize that a change needs to be made. I don't think a change, not saying you must leave XD right now, but at some point you realize how what he can offer or what he could do in a better team.
Yeah.
So XD is Arsenal then?
They might come fourth in their group, but
I think
otherwise I'm not
Arsenal
sure.
works, eh? I mean, at some point, like when they had Jappa and TKC, lots of like they could also like take games over so anybody, and now they're like, oh, now it's like Wenger's last season, you know? It's looking rough. It's looking rough.
When game is hard.
Yeah.
I think that's all we have on the main teams. I want to touch briefly on the so-called lesser teams: Lead Pros, Nibbles, Banner Brothers. I think Lead Pro we mentioned before we started officially. They team that could possibly upset people. I think Precious and Harry the Hams, competent core players, and I'm a BE fan, as I said earlier. I think he's not afraid to make plays, even if they're the bad players. So I feel like they could possibly make some upsets.
Yeah, for sure. I kind of agree with that. Nibble would have like been a team that's been around, like doing their things recently. I think we have both Nibble teams. We have Nibble Horde and Nibble Esports, so.
Yeah, both Nibbles.
So I think one of the Nibble teams beat Retro Kill Gaming in Metal State on Sunday. It was the best of one, but like Retro Kill is a team that qualified to Masters, and I was not impressed at all. And Nibble beat them, so I was happy about that. They just drafted really bad. Other teams that haven't been qualified yet, we had Smart in Esports. Oh, sorry, we haven't spoken about rather. They are qualified. Obviously, they are at the LAN.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know much about the other teams, to be honest. I think Banner Brothers potentially have some like higher exposure to a few games. But I think if I were these teams and I was playing against the top teams, let's say Lead Pro, WRG, Sin 5, Goliath, I would set myself like small goals. Be like, let's make it past 20 minutes. Like, I'm not even joking. I feel like it can do really well to like boost morale and be positive going forward into like the games that are actually going to matter. Because you don't want to come last in your group. And I feel like if you hit these small goals, like, hey, we lasted 25 minutes against Lead Pro, like, it can be positive, you know. And I think this is like small goals or small objectives that they can set themselves for the LAN, just to help, like, you know, improve themselves in a sense.
What do you think about like some of these lower teams, right? I definitely agree with you on that in the sense that you have to, having goals set up well in advance allows you to, you know, have some benchmarks to reach. Do you think that, so very often what we end up seeing in these kind of tournaments, whenever a lower place team plays against, you know, the top dogs, is they either try to go for cheese or they try to go for some ultra dominant lanes, which doesn't always work out, in order to take control of the game early, and then hopefully just not get crushed in that way. Do you think that's actually the approach that should be taken right now? Or do you think teams should just say, okay, we also need to understand the game, understand our own, the way we want to play it. So let's find the best possible way we have to play and try, and then set those further goals? Or do you think the goal should just be last 20 minutes, however we get there, whatever game plan we use, whatever drafts we use, we don't necessarily even have to be playing our particular brand of Dota to make that happen. The important thing is simply that happens, and then we'll learn thereafter how we made it happen, and then figure it out as we go along.
I wouldn't even make it that complicated. If I were those teams, I would just be like, pick the heroes I'm comfortable playing on.
I think I have 2 points to add to that. I think, one, South African teams don't know how to win games if they don't win the lane, like, full stop. I think the old WRG team could do it because they were really good. Maybe the new Lead Pro team can with, like, Chirawe and Rob's guidance, but, like, South African teams like Sin 5, WRG, and even this Lead Pro, like, I don't know, we haven't seen the new team that much. They could never win teams and they didn't win lanes. Like, never, ever, ever. So laning is super important. And then 2, I think if you WRG and Sinister 5 going into this lane, you're not going to go in there thinking, okay, Lead Pro are so much better than us, they're going to win the lane. You have to go in there, like, to quote my boy Kyle, playing to win, baby. Like, you have to thought. They both played Lead Pro now before this tournament. You had to know something is going on. Like, you have to have given it thought. Yes, Lead Pro are the favorites, but you can't go there and be like, they're so much better than us, we can't win. They have to have a plan, and they have to be like, we can win this game. Like, you have to believe that. Which I think both of them do. I don't think either of them are going to go into the tournament like, oh, we fucking lost, you know?
Yeah.
Well, some teams, no, they won't be.
I don't think Sen 5 and WRG can.
Definitely not.
Though. Yeah. I think they'll bring a fight at least.
But I guess it's that situation where this is the great thing about reshuffles, right? Because once you upset the established order, you have an opportunity to reassert yourself, vault towards the top. And now you know that ultra dominant team, yes, some of the players might still be around, but they're not together as a collective, which makes a huge difference. So, now there's opportunity, now there's hope. And I guess it's also that thing of like spending a year losing to a five stack of WRG is very different than facing a Lead Pro or Sin 5 or whatever. Because it's like, or Lead Pro in particular, it's like, oh, you guys are really good, but
Exactly.
you haven't spent the year being at the top. Now you actually have to reprove
I don't
yourself.
think this Lead Pro team obviously is currently the best team and it's a really strong team, but I don't think they have no grounds to say that they're as good as that WRG team. I think even player for player, they don't match that same level of the old WRG team.
Yeah, so
I agree.
I think the most interesting part of this LAN is going to be that 2 to 4 position placing, because I think Goliath can beat WRG, but I don't think Goliath can beat Sin 5, and I think WRG can beat both of them, but I think they can lose to both of them.
I agree.
So it's like a very topsy-turvy, and that's where I think it's going to be the most interesting place to watch. And I think Goliath are going to be right in the middle there, determining what happens.
All right, nail your colors to a must here, Bob. Who you got in that order from 1 to 4?
So it's so difficult. So Lead Pro first, I think.
Huh?
I want to say, man, see, I don't think it even matters what I say who's 2 to 4, because I think it can be anything. But I'm just gonna go with WG second, Goliath third, Sin 5 fourth.
Sin 5 fourth. Yo, that's pretty bold,
fire.
bro.
All right.
That's not flaming. Sin 5.
I know. I think that's a fair prediction. But like,
But it could go easily the other way. It could be Sin 5 second, WG third.
Yeah.
It can go anywhere.
I agree.
I have this weird feeling, right? And I'm gonna regret this come Sunday. But I have this weird feeling that Lead Pro is not actually gonna win the tournament.
All right.
I don't know why.
Who you say is gonna take it then, though?
Here's where it gets complicated, because basically, like what Bob was saying makes complete intellectual sense, except for the Sin 5 one. I put Sin 5 a little bit higher. I put Sin 5.
No, but you don't understand what Bobby's saying, right? He says that WRG could throw to
could.
and lose.
Yeah.
But that would never happen for GG. But if WRG play against Sin 5, WRG should win that game as well. You know?
I don't think WRG should win against Sin 5. For me, if it just goes, I'm gonna actually think WRG or Sin 5, one of these two are gonna win the tournament. Then immediately behind them is gonna be Lead Pro. Then immediately behind them and third is gonna be the other team that doesn't win between WRG and Sin 5. Then it's gonna be, I have a feeling Goliath's gonna flame out for some reason. And then but I don't know who's gonna be fourth if it's not GG.
I think
it should be
even
Epoch,
what they
but then-
carry are a good team. Like Goliath Gaming are kind of their kryptonite. They've been 2-0 in their last 2 encounters. But like Epoch, also at the start of the first Masters League, they almost took a game. Like they almost beat Lead Pro. They've had like super good games. They took a game off WRG. Like I think in terms of talent in that team, it's similar to Goliath Gaming.
Oh wait, and also brackets matter a lot in this tournament, right? Because you get a 1 game advantage in the finals.
Man.
I hate this.
Let's
system.
pretend that we never saw that.
Oh my god, dude. That actually means that these group stages are super important then, right? Okay, so group 1 has...
It's lower bracket and all that kind of jazz.
Yeah, isn't low bracket seeded by teams
Like,
coming out of...
So 4 of the teams of the 5 teams make it out. Then there's a double elimination after that. So there's a lot of Dota that's going to be played.
Jesus Christ. So much Dota, dude. That still means it matters, right? Because who you get matched up with early goes a long way towards determining how you're gonna come out of the group.
Okay, I know
at least
the
out of
game
the...
is starting like super soon. It actually starts in like a minute. But let's just look at this, okay? So in the groups, we have... Okay, me and Bob kind of already went over this. Like, we have Sin 5 and WRG in the same group with XT and Lead Pro Senpais. And in group 2, we have Lead Pro, GG, and Epoch. So Lead Pro won in that second group for sure. And then Sin 5 or either WRG, I see 1 in group 1. So whoever comes first, second, there, it is kind of important, I guess.
Yeah.
But before we get to the next thing, actually, Sargon had a question for you, Bob. He asked if you could play in any of these teams that we're talking about here, which one would you join?
Goliath, actually.
Goliath.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Holy.
I think I could fix all their problems.
Oh, that is a statement, yo.
On which position, bro?
On the PS5, AFK position, dude.
Bob can only play one role, you know.
Yeah, I can play one role, dude.
Okay,
I was hoping you were gonna do the Muzzy Flame and say, nah, bro.
No ways, dude.
Muzzy's really
No
good.
ways, dude. I don't
Muzzy
play
actually is
Muzzy.
really good.
Muzzy's a
Muzzy's really
titan.
good.
And
Yeah.
Bob can only play POS 5 and put down words. Confirmed. Okay, so Oris
There
is
we go.
asking whose panel / casting this tournament. So, I don't know how to say this, right? So, kind of a chat was had between myself and the organizer and the rest of the casting group, and basically, it was asked upon us to like just rock up there with our laptop and stream to our own channels for like no payment, nothing, and it's like 2K18, and I don't think that's really a right thing to do when the tournament prize money is 60,000 rand. So I kind of told the guy that he doesn't really know what he's doing properly. Wait, that doesn't sound right. that a tournament
This
can't
is
run
the
like that, and
mother.
casters actually have value as human beings.
This is the mother of all euphemisms, dude.
and and he got a bit upset with me, so I'm definitely not casting that tournament. But I like from that chat, he basically wants to cast to rock up there with his PC and everything and do the whole thing for free, and I think that's a bit ridiculous. So I didn't see any other casters taking up on that offer in that group. I didn't. So that I can confirm. There might be a caster there.
Jabba was gonna be there.
Is he gonna do
I
it?
don't know.
Are they paying him?
You'd
I
have to
hope they
ask him
do.
that.
I hope they do. Shout out to Jabba for
They should pay Jabba, yeah. Shout out to Jabba.
shout out to Jabba for taking one for the community.
Yeah. Jabba's definitely, he's doing the right thing. Well, I'm not sure if it's right, but he's doing the thing for the community, like you said, and he's getting out there. I might have been able to help him out, but I ended up not being able to. But yeah, Jabba's gonna be there. He's gonna be doing the
Watching
thing.
World Cup finals, you bastard, I know.
I can't watch, dude. We can't watch World Cup
Oh,
finals.
yeah.
We're working.
Okay, no, wait. I don't know if Demonic's on the stream or not, but I will buy you supper on Sunday. Like, if the game's finished fast, I will buy you supper. I will buy you whatever you want, and we're gonna watch the finals together. Yeah. So now I think the England game is starting now. Predictions for the game. It's the end of this podcast. first.
I think England wins 3-2.
What?
He's not invited to the next podcast. Bob, you next.
It's coming home, dude. It's coming home.
It's coming home. All right, I'm gonna be realistic here. Croatia win this game like 2-0, 2-1. Croatia take the game. They're the dark horses for this World Cup. Maybe they give France a chance, but England are not making it to the finals. That's where I'm ending it, boys.
England's gonna make it to the finals, right? And then they're gonna be super happy. And then once again, we're gonna see English people being beaten by French, and then being butthurt about it for the rest of time. It's gonna be great.
It's not coming home at me, bitches. We out.